Hey everybody, Pat here. We are live after a little bit of technical issues, but that's okay. You're still here, and if you're watching the replay, don't even worry about it because I'm here. We got a special guest with us today, Gannon Meyer, who's going to teach us a little bit about ManyChat and social media automations and all the stuff that's kind of been sitting under our noses this whole time that a lot of people are using to grow their following, to get more engagement, which then helps you actually get more views, which then helps you grow your following and then get more engagement. There's this beautiful flywheel that happens when you understand how this works. And it doesn't have to be that complicated. There's also some fun goodies that Gannon's going to share with us along the way, and even templates and things like that. So let's not wait any longer. We got Gannon here. What's up, Gannon?
Yes, sir. How are we doing? It's funny. I saw the email you sent out. It was my name, and then in parentheses it said "full-blown human genius" or something. And I literally can't even figure out how to join a Zoom call.
No, dude, it's not you. All you did was restart your computer, and then all the magic happened, which is fantastic. Everybody, Gannon Meyer, GannonMeyer.com. He's got a great website helping you build your audience with smarter marketing automation. And Gannon, automation sounds really scary to a lot of people. It's like, okay, now I got to set up all these systems and stuff. Like, give us a rundown for those who aren't even familiar with this space, why it's important to understand all this.
Yeah. So TLDR, it's what I do and what we do on our team is basically for people who create content to sell things, and this is true for basically any business, whether you sell one thing or 1,000 things, doesn't matter. The analogy that I like to give is, I'm from New Jersey. So New Jersey diner, New York diner, Northeast diner, you go into any of those places, the menu is going to be 1,500 items long. And if you're hungry and you have no idea what you want, 1,500 things presented in front of you is going to make you angry because you can't make a decision. So normally what happens is when somebody needs help picking something, they just ask. And in that case, it would be the waiter or the waitress. And the waiter or waitress usually will ask you, what do you like? And that one question is, it'll help somebody basically make a decision based off of their preferences. And that analogy is, when I use that analogy, you have to think about it in terms of like when you create things for people on the internet and you sell things, your audience is hungry, but they don't even know what they want. They have no idea. So it's your job to figure out what they're in the mood for or what they enjoy. And you need to assume that people are just unaware of what you sell. So the automation side comes into this where, in a one-to-one conversation like me and you talking right now, I can just ask you that question and it's fine. Like, I don't have to automate anything. But if I'm having thousands of these conversations at scale, I basically want to act as the waiter in that conversation. So when somebody comes through into my marketing world, I ask them what they need help with. And they don't know what my offers are. So I need to show them. So if they have a problem with XYZ, I would then guide them to XYZ. And an automation handles that entire conversation from start to finish, even if it's just like one or two sentences from each person, and then guides them in the right direction to buy something. So we do that, most of that through ManyChat.
Awesome.
Which is, long story short.
I mean, tell us about where to begin with all this. I mean, this is really important. We've started doing this on our end. It's been really amazing, actually, to see the results and the increased followers, the increased engagement on those videos. Most of the people here, by the way, let me know in the chat if you're watching live. Feel free to shout out your Instagram account because this is where a lot of this happens, right? But there's other platforms too. But where do we begin with this? I'll let you go for a little bit because I know there's a lot to unpack here. But what I love about Gannon, what he's done, we've done private workshops inside of the SPI community together. He always makes it feel achievable and doable. And so when I remember that workshop we did like a year and a half ago, like I got really inspired by that. I took action and we saw results. And I know the same can happen for people here too. But tell us kind of, where do we all begin with this, Gannon?
Yeah, I would like to see in the chat, on a scale of 1 to 5, how confident are we with ManyChat? 1 being like, I have no idea what ManyChat is. 5 being like, I can run this workshop. Gannon, you can go do whatever you want for the rest of the day. I saw somebody said Jersey in the building. I think we're live on YouTube too, right? Most people that I talk to are at like a 1 to 3. If you're just starting out with ManyChat, the best place to start, I see people, I see zeros in the chat too. The best place to start, you can do a million different things with ManyChat, but the best place to start is, how do I get somebody from my Instagram comment section onto an email list, right? And The next step beyond that is like, how do I get more information from them? How can I start segmenting them? How can I put the right offer in front of this person at the right time? But the 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 foundation of ManyChat is basically data input fields where you can ask any question you want and get any answer if it's legal to do that. Obviously, you don't want to ask people for their social security numbers,
Hmm.
but you can do like first name, you can do phone number, you can do address, you can do birthday, you can ask them what their favorite color is, and you can just start messing around with those data collection fields, and then you basically map their response to its own output field. So if I ask you what's your favorite color and you say blue, now I know that your favorite color is blue for every conversation we have moving forward. And I can show you ways to do that, but you can do, email collection at the fundamental level is just ask for email, add them to your email platform, and ManyChat integrates with Kit, Flowdesk, Mailchimp, I think Active Campaign, and a few others. But if you're using like an app platform like Zapier or Make, which we can also get into, it's you're easily able to get that person from Instagram over to your email list.
What's the easiest way to do that? I mean, I think I love 3D printing. YouTube here says, I guess with ManyChat you need people commenting, and is that kind of where this begins? Like, give us like literally a zero. Don't even know where to begin. You get ManyChat. What is the first easiest way to go to start getting people into an email list?
Yeah, I mean, how many people here have a lead magnet? Basically anything, or even a newsletter, right? You can do it with a newsletter. You can do it with a lead magnet. Um, the easiest thing, like anybody right now watching this can go out and do this right now. Well, after you set up a ManyChat automation, but basically you post on your Instagram story, hey, I'm releasing this newsletter on Saturday or Sunday, whenever you send your newsletter, right? And you tell people what is going to be included in that newsletter issue, and then you also tell them to reply with news if they want to get added to the newsletter that's coming up, right? So you just have like one Instagram story. It can be a picture of you, it can be whatever you want. PSA, I have this newsletter and this issue coming up. I'm talking about this. If you want to get added to the list, reply with the word news. And then that automation, once you have it set up, it can be like basically one step where it's just like, what's your email? You send it over. Cool, I'll add you. And then you add that person to Kit. I think it would make sense to kind of share my screen and walk through what that looks like if you want me to, right?
Yeah, please. I actually, even before you do that, I'll
Cool.
show really quick on my screen
Yeah.
you doing this yourself. You said
Oh,
comment code, and I'll send you 5 more prompts. So that's a pretty cool thing. And then 5 prompts, that's not going to be too much of a heavy lift to kind of create in that moment for getting people to comment. And if you look here, it's like code, 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 code. And then I see, I think you have an automatic reply. It says, sent you a DM, sent you a DM, sent you a DM. So when we did this, we had, you can make like customizable replies so that you can have like a list of 5 to 10 so that they're not all the same, but that's okay. But yeah, let's go into your screen, and I'd love to share that and kind of show people what they got going on.
you got it. I will pull up my automation right now. Oh, there goes my dog.
Oh, your
Here's
dogs, my dogs. Oh my gosh. All right. You are sharing the screen.
All right, you can see ManyChat. Cool. All right, so yeah, I can't see chat, but I'll make sure that I go back and forth and make sure you can all see. So when you get into ManyChat, you'll have typically what happens when you go to your automation tab and you hit new automation. You might see a pop up that shows you all these different templates. You can follow to DM, you can collect emails from comments, so many different things. But I'm doing here is clicking on new automation. At your top right, you might see something that says start from scratch. And then it's going to give you the option to start with AI or start with a blank. Always start with a blank. So all I want to do for this automation, and again, I want to give you something practical that you can go out after this call and actually set this up and be like, oh my goodness, like I didn't even know you can do this. If somebody responds to our Instagram story with the word news, I want to add this person to our newsletter, right? So the new trigger here is going to be user sends you a message, and then you can detect specific words in a message, or you can recognize the intent of a message. So we're going to just start with the top one, detect specific words. And then if message contains, we're going to change this to if message is. And then in this keyword section, we're just going to type in the word news. It can be all lowercase, it can be all uppercase. It's not case sensitive, so it's totally fine. And we're going to hit create. So that is the trigger of our automation. So now when somebody DMs you or replies to your story, because every story reply on Instagram is also technically a DM, now we can do whatever we want. So all I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on Instagram and I'm going to click on data collection, and I can delete this top message here. And you're going to see enter a question and then contacts reply as text. So basically, I can say, what is your favorite color? This is just to show you like the different types of contacts replies, but what is your favorite color? So when somebody responds with blue, it treats that as a custom field that we can save this to eventually, but it basically says when this person responds to this question, it needs to be text, right? So we can also change this to email. It can be phone number. It can be first name, last name, URL, right? So I'm going to change this to email. And then I'm going to say, what is the best email to add to the newsletter mailing list? And you can probably write that more elegant than I can, but you get my point. So when we change the reply type from text to email, it does two things for us. The first is if this person's response is not formatted as an email, it's going to prompt them to re-enter their text, their response. So this person might say, my email is xyz at xyz.com, right? If that is not formatted as xyz at xyz.com, it's going to say you just need to enter your email and that's it. So that's number one. And number two is if we just ask this person in a text message like this, what is your email address? The data collection basically allows us to capture that information, and it's going to have it basically live inside a container. So coincidentally, I'm using my water cup today is a cup that says ManyChat on it. Pretend ManyChat here says email. So when we're using these data collections and we have the contacts reply as email, we're basically saying, hey, ManyChat, I just asked this person what their email is. I want you to present this jar and open it up. And whatever they say, save into this jar and save it for later, right? So if we're not basically referencing that jar, the jar is never presented and we can't send that text anywhere that we want to. We can't send it over to Kit. We can't send it over to Active Campaign, Klaviyo, whatever we use. But when we have the email field here, we can. So as soon as this person responds with their email address, what we can do is we can go action on reply, and we'll talk more about like the integrations and maybe setting up Zapier or Make here. But I already have Kit connected. Kit is what I use for my email marketing. So you just have to go into your Kit dashboard. You have a Kit API key. You go into the integration section in ManyChat. You enter that API key, and now you can add this person to a form, a sequence, add a tag to this person, or you can get this person's contact data. I usually just add this person to a sequence, and that would be my newsletter welcome sequence here. We don't have this person's first name. We'll talk more about that in a second. But if I hit save, then basically this person responds to my story. The first thing you get is a message from me asking for what your best email is. And then at that point, as soon as I get your email, I add you to my welcome sequencing kit. And then you start getting my emails. So I want to stop sharing for a second and come back and ask questions and make sure that we're all on the same page. But what questions do we have about that so far? I know chat, where I'm seeing chat, it's like slight delay, but I want to make sure that you guys get your questions answered. You said, how much of this can you do with a free account versus a paid account? I believe you can't use the integrations unless you're on a paid account. ManyChat is not only for Instagram, it's for Facebook, and they also have WhatsApp, because family of apps for Meta, and they also integrate with TikTok, although TikTok's API is a little wonky. They don't really allow them to do much with it, but you can definitely run some automations on TikTok. I'm going to actually pull up the YouTube link so I can view the YouTube link. There we go. NJ, I love it. It does work in TikTok, yes. Can I ask which email platforms you guys are using? Are you using Kit? Are you using Active Campaign, Klaviyo, Flowdesk, Kajabi? I have clients who use Kajabi for their store and their email. Can you get the email list sent to a? Yeah, you can get it sent to a spreadsheet if you wanted to too. Does not work on LinkedIn, unfortunately, not yet. Microsoft is pretty stingy with their with their API access. Okay, cool. Yeah, so guys, Kit is super easy to do. So if you have a newsletter, so there's a few different things that I want you to know here. Like you'll notice that first, I did not add this person to a form. I added them to a sequence. And the reason I'm adding them to a sequence is because I want to just get them into the welcome sequence as quickly as possible. I personally don't really track source for my email subscribers because most of where I do my tracking is on like the done for you agency. I built a whole CRM out for it. So I don't, the kit is just for me interacting with my audience through my weekly newsletter. But if I were you, I would still add them to a sequence first, so they're getting those emails. But if you have an automation in Kit that says when this person subscribes to this form, add them to the sequence, you can also do that. So you would just add them to the form first in ManyChat, and then get the automation going on the Kit side to add them to that sequence. And you can do that through visual automations. So that's step number one. Now, if you so there's a few different ways we can go with this, but I want to ask you guys. So let's just say I post this. Let's just say I have 5 different lead magnets, right? I have a PDF, I have a evergreen webinar, I have an ebook, I have my newsletter, and then I have a recorded training, right? So I have 5 different lead magnets. Now, if I'm running an automation like this, what am I eventually going to run into? What is the main issue here? Where if I just have this, somebody comments for the lead magnet, I ask for their email, I send them to Kit. What's the main issue there? Like, what am I going to run into on my side? What would people see on their side that they kind of get upset at? I'm gonna make you think.
You're doing awesome, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you. You got it. I hope your plumber got.
I wasn't going to tell
Gotcha.
anybody, but yeah, that plumber like literally come over. They were like, "We'll be there between 8 and 6," and then of course, right when we're on, and that's the dogs. Sorry about your dog as well, but we're almost finished over here.
She loves it. She's sleeping behind me now, so she's good.
But yeah, we're getting into the weeds, which is good. But it's nice to see the flow happen. It's nice to see that the triggers are easy to make and connect. So this is great.
Yeah, I'm looking at chat on my monitor. Somebody commented. They said duplication if they exist. So on the Kit side, yes, but in ManyChat, remember I referenced the jar, right? The email jar. There's a question about GDPR too, which we'll cover. But if this person has already given me their email, what I'm actually able to do is add a condition here. So the condition is going to be email has any value. If no, ask for their email. So now what this does is if I already have this person's email address in ManyChat, that probably means that I also have them in Kit. But for the 5 different lead magnets I have, I don't want to keep sending this person the same, what's the best email? What's the best email? What's the best email? So I can just verify that I already have it. And if I do, I can say something like, great, I've already got you on the newsletter list. But if I don't have it, which is what's happening here, I just ask, what's the best email to add to the newsletter mailing list? So yeah, Annie said a confirmation. How we got here said duplication if they exist. Yes, all of those things. So we just want to make sure we're not asking the same information over and over and over again to this person. And then once we get their email confirmation in, we can just say something like, great, I've got you added. You should get an email from me in just a few minutes. And something as simple as this, you can just keep posting on your Instagram story. Tell people to reply with the word news if they want to get added to the newsletter. Check if you have their email. If you don't, you ask for it. If you do, you tell them that you've already got it. If you don't have their email, you add them to the sequence in Kit, and then you confirm that they're going to get the email. That's it. Like if you run this today and you post one Instagram story, and I can share some formats with you, that work really well for me, which I can pull up on my Instagram. This will get you more subscribers than you. I'm not going to say it's going to blow your mind like insanely, but you're going to get a pretty good influx of email subscribers if you're posting consistently on Instagram with this.
That's awesome, man. Thank you for that. Um, Start simple, I think, is the best advice, right? We could always add on and kind of get things to a more complicated and more advanced level later. But I do appreciate you showing us how that runs. I think there's some discussion in the chat about people being reluctant to kind of leave the platform to start to do an interaction with you. There's a lot of like malware, spyware worries, those kinds of things. So having things happen just in the app itself is great. I've loved being able to just ask people like, "Hey, do you want the lead magnet?" In a DM, and then just go like, "Well, reply with your email," and that's they're consenting to get the follow ups,
Yeah,
which is great. It just happens right there.
even the data on our side. So when we're looking at clients who are running like Webflow, Framer, Kajabi, those types of landing pages, we have all the data for. So those convert typically around like 50 to 55% if they're doing really well. And that's like 50 to 55% conversion rate on an opt-in page is fantastic. The ManyChat automations convert around 70%. So if you get somebody to click a button to start an automation, you have a 70% chance of collecting their email. That is absurd.
It is
It's
absurd.
unheard of. If somebody told me that has 70% conversion rate on an opt-in page, I would be like, show me how you built this, because this is just insane. So it's giving you, the opportunity to collect more emails, but it's actually doing it better than having to go out. And you should definitely still have the website and the landing pages, because Instagram is not your only source of marketing, right?
Right.
But you want to have the ability to just have the best ability to collect those emails. And I think, if you're going to run any type of marketing on Instagram, you have to do it through ManyChat.
The this reminds me of kind of how we used to think about SMS marketing, right? It had like a 98% success rate, but then people got very protective of what shows up on their phone in a text message, right? And then now if I get a text message that's not from anybody I know, I just like instantly block. And I hope I don't get that. But a message in a DM is much more friendly, especially if you can get the messaging right and the expectations are there. They're not getting something that they didn't ask for, all those kinds of things. I mean, it just makes sense. And that way you're able to, like you said, clone yourself and be 1,000 waiters or waitresses, kind of helping people help themselves through your brand, through your other offerings, all those kinds of things as well. Great comment here from Gwen, who asks, how does ManyChat handle things if they DM with a different message? So, reply with your email, but then the email maybe isn't really formatted correctly, or are there kind of contingencies for that?
Yeah, so if I go back into ManyChat here, I'll show you. So in the email collection tab here, this little section right here, if I click into this, you see where it says retry 3 times if this reply is invalid. So you can make it 0, you can make it 1, but it's just going to say, please enter a correct email address.
Oh,
With
wow,
this
that's
example,
cool.
mail.com. Yeah, so it defaults to 3. And then if they go past 3, the only option is they'll see a skip button at the bottom of their screen that they can click. I'll tell you, less than like 0.1% of people who go through automations hit the skip button. Like they're either not going to answer, or which would be the 30% of the 70%, or they're just going to give you their email. Like they understand that. There was also a question about GDPR, right? So like in European countries, the consent to be on an email list and to get this information we have strict rules here with obviously SMS, like you mentioned, but GDPR is the quote unquote workaround here is to just explicitly tell people whenever you have a doubt of like, is this the correct way to do it? What we do is we say, what is the best email to send this free resource over to you? By the way, we'll also send you resources based off of what we think you need the most help with. And then it would go into a conversation further beyond what you see on my screen here about, what that person is looking for help with. So the positioning is like, don't just expect this, the lead magnet. I'm also going to send you the newsletter, and you're saying that explicitly, but you're also positioning this in a way where this person's now excited to be on the list, because as you collect more and more information from this person, you're just going to send them the most targeted resources that you have. So if you know somebody has this problem, you're going to send them resources that help them solve that problem and not the other problems that you also solve.
Right.
So it's helping you get more emails, but if you do it in a good way, which is what we do, we build automations like this for like hundreds of people. Um, the You don't want subscriber churn, which is probably a different conversation, but the quality of a subscriber that you're getting through this also matters.
Hmm.
You can have as many email subscribers as you want, but if your open rate is low, like your email list is your best friend when it comes to selling things online, I think.
Right. How have people used this for giveaways? I know there's a lot of people who love to do giveaways, right, to be able to grow their email list. But you got to be very careful, right? Because if you give away stuff, people are subscribing for the wrong reason. They're not subscribing for the thing that you ultimately have to offer. So, what are your thoughts on using this mechanism for, hey, type in the code, enter in the comments below to be entered into a random drawing? Cool, you're
Yeah,
getting
so
a load of people coming in, but for the right reasons,
that's
maybe, I don't know.
like, I'll tell you anecdotally. One of our clients ran a giveaway for a MacBook, and there was a few thousand new email subscribers. I can't tell you off the top of my head how many of them are still subscribed, but the way that we do this is we enter them to the giveaway, and then we ask a question about, like, do they want more resources based off of growing your YouTube channel, and then when they answer that question, they're tagged a certain way in Kit or whatever email platform they got. So like this person, because that also helps with our reporting. So if we know that this person subscribed because of a giveaway and they're not tagged as they don't want anything besides the giveaway and they unsubscribed, well, now we know that the people who entered in the giveaway were a low quality reader.
Right.
But if they have an additional tag of they have this problem and they're still subscribed, then we know that question was the reason they still exist on our mailing list. So it's easy to like want to blow up your email list and get as many subscribers as you want, but whenever you're doing a giveaway, you still want to have a follow-up question after you collect the email. It's totally fine if you add this person to the email list and then you ask this question,
Hmm.
but you want to be able to figure out why this person is following you, what they want to learn from you, and what problem they're trying to solve that you can help them solve. And
Yeah.
that determines every other piece of marketing that they get moving forward.
Yeah. And for the most part, for many of those kinds of things, especially if the giveaway is not related to the thing that you ultimately have to offer, if it's like an iPad or a MacBook, most of those people are probably going to be not quality, and people that you kind of want out of that system as soon as possible, right? But maybe through some of that, you get some people who come in and they enjoy it and they can kind of, be led and nurtured into a place that that makes sense. So I love that. Hoping I can rewatch. I missed the first half. All good. Yes, the replay will be immediately available here after we are done, and we are closing in toward the end here. I do want to talk about some big mistakes that maybe some people make when they get into this world. That way we can avoid them as well. There is a question here from Cash's Collections. It says, in a world of account security, does ManyChat have a security team protecting their users and users' email list? Obviously, Gannon, you don't work there, but you are obviously very close to them. Thoughts on security, especially for the users who sign in through that system,
Yeah.
because it is keeping record of that for us.
Yeah. So two things pop in my head. The first is ManyChat is a official business partner of Meta. And the Meta team, there's a mutual relationship there where they, if you're going to use ManyChat, Instagram and Facebook know you're using ManyChat and not another tool, so your account will never get flagged for using it. The second thing is, if you if you try to export any data out of ManyChat, good luck. Like, it's just not going to happen. Like, you can't go into a list of all your contacts in ManyChat, filter out who has an email, and then export all of those people into Kit. The only way you can do it is if you do it through an automation.
Mm.
So you only have access to that information in real time. So you can go in and you can, manually go through and see these people have an email. I need to hire somebody to get these emails, manually copy and paste them over to my email platform. But because of Meta's incredibly strict rules when it comes to automation and messaging inside the platform, you have very little ability to get that data anywhere else. It's nearly impossible, which is I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Ooh,
Great question here. Thoughts on auto DMing new followers, a feature that I think is fairly new, but I'm going to let you answer this
yeah.
and would love your thoughts.
There are a lot of ways to do this. The issue that you'll see with follow to DM is making it seem human and genuine, which is what we want, right? Like this is when somebody follows you on Instagram, they're there for either to learn from you, to connect with you, to ask you a question, whether it's like a genuine question about your content or it's like, hey, do you need a video editor? Like we see those all the time, right? When you are using this when I'm setting this up for clients, I want them to have like an actual human interaction with this person. So we've tried everything from how can we get this person to click a button and then sign up for the email list or download this freebie. But we've also tried automations where we just send somebody a video that says, thank you for following me. Let me know how I can help you. Like a 15-second video, pick up your phone, straight to the camera. We upload it to ManyChat. And surprisingly, actually not surprisingly, the video does better in terms of it's hard to measure like, brand trust and reputation and loyalty and things like that. But the responses that you get, I think when you're building a brand, you want to get responses from people to just like know that you are human. Even if you go to my account right now, like I talk about AI and automation all day, my two pinned posts on my account are my story, basically my background and like how I got here, and then the night I proposed to my fiance. So when you get to somebody's account and when you're using automation like this, like there's so many good ways to use it and there's also so many bad ways to use it. The good way to use it is how can I make this human but at scale? Like you're not letting AI have a conversation with your leads or your followers. You're using it to be like, how can I be more of me to more people where I don't necessarily get that opportunity? I would love to sit in my office all day, every day, and send people a personalized video to them face to face on my phone, but I just don't have the time to do that, right? So you can set up an automation that then sends that video, and the people who respond to it, you can flag that for your inbox and be like, oh, cool, I sent this person a video, they responded, I want to respond back, and whether that's a voice note or another text message that I can send them, that's cool. But yeah, like it's not that you want to be careful; it's you want to be human more than anything. I think that's what people care about. Um, Let me see.
Yeah.
You said my followers have a genuinely parasocial relationship with me, and anything automated diminishes that. Do you think the trade off is worth it?
Mm,
It's a really good question.
yeah.
It really depends on how you set this up because with ManyChat, like I showed you that automation, you can just ask for somebody's email and add them to an email list. But you can also do things like send voice notes and you can send videos and you can, with what we build, if I showed you an automation that we built, you'd be like, what, what is happening on the screen? It's just a giant spider web of colors and boxes. But the goal of any automation that you create, and any automation that we create, whether it's an email automation, a ManyChat automation, is how can I use what I already know about this person, whether it's the information they gave us or the context of the conversation itself, and make this as much of me as I possibly can. And if
Hmm.
you have to take over the conversation at any time, like that's fine. You can always do that. But if it's just as simple as like asking for somebody's email address and asking what their first name is or like their phone number if you're collecting leads for whatever reason like that, um, that's fine. Like I honestly don't think people have an issue with it. I think it gets to the point of being an issue where it's constant over and over again with every interaction. Like people have to try really hard to have a human interaction with you. That's when it becomes an issue. But if you're just doing this for like DM automations to add somebody to an email list, I've never had an issue with it. But I do this for a living, and that's what my niche is. So people probably won't say it explicitly, or they just come to expect it from me. But even with our clients, like we've never had an issue.